Okay, so the first step in playing Aeroplanes is picking your starting city. This guy's the first player. He doesn't get to pick first. The guy who gets to pick would be the guy who goes last. And in this case, since I do things half-ass backwards, that's going to be blue. Now, this isn't a trivial decision. I've handed out the money, the $12 to start with, but then it gets modified by where you go. The first desire is, hey, if I could get something, that's kind of decent, maybe not in the best of locations, but by the way, this 4-5, that indicates the space is only available if there's 4 or 5 players. It's one of those in each of the starting locations. So I would prefer to get one that gives me a couple extra bucks, because that just seems better. However, you have to look a little bit. So Rome, for example, only gives 4 people. Berlin is a little out off to the edge. There's a reason there are these modifiers. Rome is also a little off to the edge. Paris is in the best of locations with a lot of people. Okay, but in addition to what the people, where the location is, kind of by default, the value of the area, and how many passengers it might have, you also have to worry about where the passengers go. So, for example, London, which gives you $1, has Vienna, which looks far away, Athens, even further, Stockholm, not a great location, Cairo, which, I'm not getting anything for that. On top of that, this is a 3-person trip, which means I would need, say, this plane to carry them, or some later plane. I'm also not guaranteed the passengers that show up in any particular city, because somebody else can come into that city. When I played 2-player, we only allowed 1 person per city, which kind of meant you could dominate one market. That was probably a mistake. We probably should have gone for 2 per, but we wanted the competition aspect to go. There just really isn't an easy fix for that. But yeah, so like a plane that carries 3 people, or a 3-person passenger, is kind of a difficult thing to haul at this point. You may not get such a plane. There's a bunch of them towards the end of the era, so they'll probably be able to be moved, but will they be moved by you? The other aspect here is also, what about if you have things from the same city? So, for example, this guy has one from Berlin. All I need to do is have one airport in Berlin, making a little local run for that guy, maybe a sightseeing tour or something, and that works fine. So that's kind of appealing. So it's hard to kind of decide what you want. Rome has 2 locals, but their others are Frankfurt, which isn't bad, and Copenhagen, which is beginning to stretch out into deeper into Europe. Zurich, a couple for Amsterdam, a Paris, and a Vienna. That all looks very localized and kind of pleasant. Paris itself hits Rome, Paris. I have a victory point one to get out to Persia. You know what? I'm going to go with Paris. Much as I don't like losing $1, it has some nice advantages, and it gives me my home city in the best location in the game in general. Okay, and then red has to make their pick, and we continue down this. I'll come back after I'm done with those. See where the players have picked for their home locations. They always are guaranteed a spot here. You can't kick them out. That makes it kind of somewhat important, but it's not terribly important, to tell you the truth. It just doesn't, it really only affects this first turn, because after that you're going to have airports elsewhere. But it does mean you'll always have some control in that city. So we go to the first player, and we have these little player aid cards, which give us all the different advantage tiles, and then also the choices of actions here, which give most of the information required to play the game. And green's going to open things up. They're sitting here in Berlin. Chances are they want an airplane first. So in Berlin, we're looking at, we've got a 2-point plane that could run one. We got this, that, and the other. But we got to pay extra if we go forward. So for example, this plane and this plane are essentially the same. I'm not going to pay an extra for this. I have 1-point passengers. I'm going to buy the DH-4A that comes with an airport. I don't have the passenger filled yet. And now this is kind of an annoying aspect of it. I have to make room for the next airplane. And I guess I could just stretch them down and make a movement all at once. Keeps the first player die. We go to the yellow player. Yellow player also probably wants to buy a plane. It just seems to be the big thing for the early player. Now I have a lot of passengers that cost 2 to get somewhere. That require a 2-person plane. I also have a 3-person plane here, and this one comes with an extra victory point on it. So I think what I'm going to do is spend 4, 5, 6 to pick up that expensive plane. It's not terribly better, and I am spending a lot of money on it, but it does get me a victory point. Victory points are hard to come by in this game. And it's not like anybody has the money to jam something all the way up there. Okay, now we go to black. Black's looking at Rome. Rome, a mixture of different types. I could afford to buy the cheapest plane, and I think I will. Afford in the sense that, you know, I can carry a single passenger. It's really not that big a deal not to. I gotta take a little break. Officially working yet, but I have my email on and it chimed for me. Okay, so one thing I was thinking, if you watched the coverage of the game Blackbeard down here, the cards for that had little bits of information on the back, a little blurb about the pirates. Likewise, I think some others have. It would be nice to have that here. Now, of course, the green tells you the era, and it makes it easier to sort the cards or something. But I'm not really sure. Not really sure how much value this is. Some of this information could have been put elsewhere. And most of the back of the card is pretty much wasted. And they had to print them differently because that had a little long distance view on it. Okay, so we're on red. Red is sitting here at Zurich. And he's got a couple of trips to Amsterdam, a big trip to Paris, and a big trip to Vienna. So I'm going to need a big plane. But otherwise, I got my choice between 2 that'll cost me 3. This will cost me 4. It gets me a victory point. Or 5, it'll give me a victory point. I'm going to just buy the $3 plane that carries 2 people. And now. What do I have here? I put 3 in. Let's say I go to 5. I'm going to buy the victory point plane. I can't see not buying it. Victory points are hard to come by in this game. If you can get them off a plane for not a lot of money, what the hell? Of course, that extra money may affect my chances of getting victory points over here. That's the problem. And Blue, who I put in Paris for whatever reason, he's got a couple of distance guys. He wants to get to Persia. To do that, getting that distance plane may not be such a bad buy. That might allow me to jump a little bit more. So yeah, I'll spend 3 on that plane. I don't usually like spending for distance, but that works. Okay. Now we've made it back around, and this is really hard to remember in 2, but we have to roll the die. And nobody who picked up a plane got a victory point off that. Those get stored separately. They could be recorded. So 3, 1, 2, 3, this is our new first player for the game, or for the turn. And that means red gets the next option. And it throws a little bit of randomness into things. You don't know, when you're taking your turn, how long before the next turn will come. Of course, in different numbers of players, that can skew things a little bit. The odds of that, but it's a neat little mechanism. It's just an annoying one to try to remember. It's very hard in play to remember to roll that die and not just take your turn. Okay, so red's sitting in Zurich. Now he has a lot more options now because he has a plane. He could fly to land some airports down in locations. Or he could even deliver someone if he has someone just for Zurich. However, there's nobody challenging his situation now. Now, the fact that there's a die roll for who goes first each time is somewhat of an issue here. And actually, I don't think there's a big bonus to going first. So the guy picking the airport first is kind of getting the guy going first, I think, is actually getting kind of screwed compared to airport choice. Personally, I'd rather buy another plane. I could also buy one of these because now I have a plane and I might be doing things with it. So now we look at him again and see what he's up to. Zurich, Amsterdam, Amsterdam, Paris, Vienna. Well, I have that 2 run to Amsterdam. I would like to get up to Amsterdam, I guess. And I can get there via Paris because I've got a big run to Paris. I want another plane. This one doesn't look like too bad a buy at $2, even though it doesn't really suit my purposes, and I might be getting some extra passengers that I don't really need. But I'll pick that up, and you can see money's running low already. But there's more over here if I want to draw it, and there are other options to do. Passengers don't bring you money or anything like that right away. Blue sitting here in Paris. I'm already able to haul this. I could just fly that right now and get myself some passengers. But without anybody else competing with me in Paris, perhaps I want to try to do other things. This is very cool. It comes with 2 airports. It has a 2 pilot. I think we're down a plane. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Yeah. That's why we gotta always move them. Helps me remember. So although it's an expensive plane, we'll pick it up for 4. And what's nice about this one is it gives me 2 separate airports. Both level 1. And now these slide again. And this is killing my back doing this continuously. Okay. And then over here, green's in Berlin. Berlin, I've got a plane with 1 dude. I need a two-plane, at least a two-plane to haul into Berlin. Wow, look what's available. I can't refuse that. $7. Has a lot of passengers, so I'm going to have to probably get some more airports to be able to service all those passengers. See, what's going to happen here, so I have to bring 7 passengers to try to match out the profit. Well, in Berlin, I can get a couple of these big 3s on that plane and get somebody on the one plane, but that means I don't have room for the Berlin passenger. Maybe if I expand into other cities, more options will show up. So we look at this, let's say I go to London. That's a long ways away. Let's say I go to London. Well, now I can look at the London collection, and I've got some other 2s and 1s and such not that maybe work for me. It doesn't look like it terribly links together, though. I may have trouble filling all that passenger slot. It carries over to the next turn, but it deflates my profit for this turn. Okay. So now we're over here to yellow. Yellow is sitting in Amsterdamster. Oh, what do we got? We got 1 guy we could carry somewhere. Oh no, we can carry 3. So we could carry that big Madrid ticket if we can get there. We want to go to Copenhagen, Rome, or Edinburgh. Those don't really work well. Well, this gives me a decent amount of stuff. It costs all my money. Costs all my money to buy this, and kind of means now it's time to start taking the rest of my turn. But it's a decent enough plane. See if these Victory Point planes have something on the back. No, they don't. That would be the one useful place to have it, I think. Okay, and now for the final in the round. It's black. Black sitting here in Rome. Rome with a 1 passenger. I can haul this. I would like to get a 3 for that. And lo and behold, there's a 3 sitting there for a little bit more, for a lot more money. I could buy the Fokker F2. That'll carry 5, but give me 2. It saves me a turn selecting this. Now you might say, well, what do turns matter? Well, what turns matter is because this runs out. When people start running out of things to do, they start pulling from that, and they don't have money, etc. And then that starts getting low, and you only get a certain number of turns before the era ends. That seems pretty clear. Well, this comes with a victory point. I can't refuse a victory point, can I? Not when I'm getting it and it fits other needs, and it may not be the plane I exactly want. I'm not sure why some have victory points, some don't. It may just be, you know, fitting the game mechanism in play. Now we're back around to the white die. Much better at remembering this when I play solo. And we get 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The white die is going to be here. I'm going to take a little break because this is kind of pooping me out. I have just about enough time to go about once more, I think. So let's take a look at blue. Blue's here in Paris with a pair of deuces. Berlin and the Paris-Zurich run, I guess. I would need a 3 to make sense out of my next run. But if I'm in Zurich, I'll also be able to make that run. Oh. The next plane's worth 5. Do I want to buy it? Well, I don't have enough money. I only have $4. And the planes are getting too expensive. So I think it's time to start laying down my track or airports. So from Paris, I've got 4. I'm going to want to go to Paris. Well, you know what? Since I'm the first player, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to pick up my Paris airfare. The reason for that is someone else could slip in and maybe go first next time in comparison to me. So by grabbing the one thing that I can just deliver without a problem, I'm making sure that I get that. That's sort of my most important passenger, except that I pulled him from Berlin. Let's go back to Paris and see what we have here. So we had a 2-pointer for Paris. Don't worry about the airplane, which airplane I put it on. The long distance one I can still use to try to get to Persia. Okay, so now we go to green here. Green does have enough for some of the follow-up planes, but I don't have really, I don't have enough to buy a plane right now unless I wanted this one. 1, 2, 3, that's 7 now. I'm not going to be able to afford any plane at this moment. Which means I have to kind of look at my run that I'm planning on. I'm going out of Berlin. I have 7 in plane. I want to pick up that 2-point Berlin fare. That makes things kind of difficult. I can get a 3, a 1, and a 1. We'll grab that though. And leave the 6 showing so we know we have excess capacity there. Over to yellow. Yellow's out of money. I've got 7 coming out of Amsterdam. Now, I should also be considering where I'm going and what I could pick up there. That starts getting too complicated when I'm doing this on a video. And it's hard even not on a video. You kind of concentrate on the cities that you already have. Okay. Madrid. London would be open if I'm going there, but I can't really guarantee that I'll get what I'm aiming for in these other cities unless I don't think other people are going for them. So, where do we want to go out of Amsterdam? We're going to have to lay some points here. So we have 7. That would be Madrid, Copenhagen, Rome. Huh. Copenhagen's easy. Let's go there. We're going to put an airport in Copenhagen. We can do that automatically because we have a little thing going there. Is there stuff we could pick up in Paris that's useful? Yes, there is. So I'm going to pick my next one into Paris. Now, I could take a risk at a 10 or more to try to go Madrid, Copenhagen, Rome. To try to go directly to Madrid. But I think getting into Paris is worth something here. And likewise, see, here's the problem though. Paris gets me another Madrid. Amsterdam, Madrid gets me up to 4. I think we're okay going into Madrid rather than Rome. We're not set up so that we can run everything, I don't think. Even if everybody leaves us alone. But that's okay. We might be able to pull another airplane if we pull some extra money. Or we just don't fulfill all of our passenger route. And then we go to Black, who seems to have way too much money. Where did he start? Rome, yeah. He's just bought some cheap planes. We're beginning to see airports showing up, which means people are threatening each other. So yellow can start grabbing Paris passengers now. Uh-oh. That's not a big deal for Rome yet. Maybe I'm going to be left alone. Do I want one of these planes particularly? What's in Rome? Because Rome's the only place I can guarantee. Well, a Rome passenger. I think we'll pick that up. We'll see where we're going later. Red's sitting here in Zurich. I have some extra money. I could buy that big Fokker F2. Nobody's really competing with me in Zurich. I don't have anything that is demanding to be picked up. Oh, no. That's 5 passengers, $7. I don't have that. Okay. So I've got 4 passengers I need to carry. Unfortunately, a pair of twos doesn't really do me a whole hell of a lot. Now, if I go to Amsterdam, that could get me back to Rome. Do I want to be in Paris, particularly? Yes, well, maybe. See, I'm wondering if I want a pilot to get myself this bonus. Or if I want to take money so that I can buy an additional plane. This is actually a tough choice. Well, if I'm jumping too, I need a pilot. And the Zurich to Rome run actually requires a risk roll. Alright, we'll buy a pilot. We could have rolled the dice, but only on a 1, 2, or 3 do we get anything on either die. Yeah, let's roll the dice. We're not absolutely certain we want a pilot. I mean, we do want one, but if we can get 2 things, that would be great. So, we chose poorly, and we get a mechanic. The 4 comes up for this production chit, which we can't get in this era. Oops. Oh well, a mechanic's not terrible, but we did waste a turn on that. And now we're back here. We roll the die for the new first player. And it's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blue gets to be first player once again, and we're taking a bit of a break for that. Blue's here running out of Paris. I got one of my planes filled, and I don't have to do anything for it. I have some more airports to go to, and a little bit more plane carrying capacity. Now, at plane carrying capacity, I'd love to get to Persia and get that victory point. Can I do that? Persia is to the Middle East and then to here. That's going to require me rolls to get there. I don't have the money to buy any of the new planes. Persia requires 2 rolls at a 12 or more. That's kind of tough. In a sense, I'd like to pay $1 and roll dice to see if I can get a pilot. Chances are I'll get something, but I might get like 2 pilots if I roll 2 dice. I'm not going to take the risk though. I'm just going to buy myself a pilot. And these are counter mix limited, but they come back as they're used. I got to pause. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so now over here with Green, who is in Berlin, I've got a lot of people to pick up. That's sort of my problem, but some of them want to go other places, so I'm out of things unless I want to buy another plane. Now with $6, well, I'm out of things to do until I allocate my airports. With $6, I don't have enough money to buy any of the planes. Do I really want more? Yeah, I kind of do. I think I can fill out more airports. So I'm going to take $1 from the subsidy box. That gives me enough to buy one of these 2 planes next time, if I so desire. And obviously the Fokker is the better choice, I think, with 2 airports, even though it has 1 less passenger, because I can, you know, build up routes a little bit better. And it's sometimes hard to fill your passengers. So that'll give me some more options next time. Now we move down to Yellow, who's got a bunch of planes, a bunch of things. It looks like I've set myself up. So let's pick up some passengers. What did we want? Well, we're coming out of Paris and Amsterdam. Amsterdam's fairly safe right now, Paris less so. So where would we want to go with Paris? Can we go to Madrid? We need a 1 with Madrid. We've got another 3-pointer from Madrid here, so that's 4. So I'm going to put that on this plane because I'll be able to fill that up with Madrid people. I don't have to go to the same location, but if I put this down on this one, I would have to look for another passenger to match with that number wise. And I just don't want to do that. The 3 and the 1 work fine, or I can put the 3 on this and then look for 3 more points elsewhere, but I'd rather fill up a single plane and figure out the other one later. Okay, here we are. We're already picking up a passenger from Rome. We could pick up another one from Rome and fill that out. Well, picking up passengers seems like a pretty good idea, although we may want to buy a plane because we have tons of money. We'll pick up the passenger because our passengers are potentially threatened and we filled up our planes. There's nothing we particularly need to do anymore, although we do have a couple airports to place and we might end up getting another plane that we need to fill out. We have a lot of options though, and we could actually just sit on our money. Over here, Now what were we thinking of doing from Zurich? We were looking at making a run that might not have succeeded. So from Zurich to Vienna is interesting. Paris, we can run a 3 to Paris, but we don't have any. See, here's the problem. We need to get to Amsterdam. Okay, from Zurich to Amsterdam is 2 spots. That would cost us these 2 perhaps. What could we pick up in Amsterdam that's a 1? Well, because what we'd be doing is picking up this and this. That uses up 3 of our capacity. The 1 would get us to Edinburgh, which means if we're only using these 2 planes, we're going to need a pilot. That's how I see it. Just to reduce our risk, I'm going to buy myself a pilot this time. The die rolling didn't work well. That keeps me a couple extra bucks. We'll see how that works in a moment. Let's roll a die for blue. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we'll see that very quickly. All right, I'm going to... so I have a choice here. I could buy another pilot because I'm planning on making a run to Amsterdam, I believe it was, and then up to Edinburgh, both of which are 2 space runs. I only have to roll a 10 for any 2 space run, and I'm doing that on 3 dice, so that's fairly likely. The pilot will cover if I need a big jump. These will cover a smaller jump, so I think I'm ready to set up my route. I don't have anything I can pick up right away. I don't have a Zurich to Zurich run or anything cheap like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to try to put it in Amsterdam. Now to do that, I could get to Paris for free, but I'm trying to bypass Paris, so I have to roll a 10 or more on 3 dice. And I roll an 11, so I get to place one of my airports in Amsterdam. Now, because I succeeded, I get to keep going. So now I'm going to try to place one up in Edinburgh, which isn't necessarily the best place to be, but another option would be Rome. I could haul a plane down to Rome. Oh shit. Wait a minute. I don't think I can do this because I don't have a long distance plane. Hold on. That's right, I was cheating. I do not have a long distance plane, so I can't try to jump over and put an airport from that plane into... See, what matters is where the airport is. So this airport can use a long distance jump, but I don't have one here. I'm going to stick with having bought that pilot, although it doesn't really help me. But now I have a real problem. I'm running from Zurich here. I need to get to Amsterdam. I need another airport. Lord, dude. Every week, a couple times a week that shit happens. So I have to get from Zurich. I could get to Amsterdam using my 2 airports. Boink, boink. Would Paris give me anything? See, Paris gets me to Rome, but I don't have the planes to get where... I don't have planes that can carry this guy to Paris. All I can do is the Amsterdam. From Paris, I could hit Rome and conceivably the Middle East. That may be my best move. Alternatively, no, that still requires 3 tickets. 1 to get me to Paris, 1 to get me to Rome, 1 to get me to the Middle East. Shit. And from Amsterdam, I don't have enough. I need more planes. Well, if I need more planes, I need more money. Let's try to get some air in here. Baking. Okay. Well, that did not work well. I screwed up my turn. And that's a shame, but I'm not going to go back. It's a Euro, you know. It's not really simulating anything, and we're not going to really be able to dissect the game and say, ah, yeah, it was that mistake way back. Because there's no real overriding strategy. So hitting here back to blue. What is blue hitting here? Euros are kind of games of making errors of decision, and that's all it is. Blue is running someone to Paris. Now I want it to go to Persia and or the Middle East. Well, Persia is what I really want, but I'm not going to be able to haul. Oh no, he's a 2-pointer, so I just have to get to Persia. Okay, so to get to Persia, I'm going to try to fly from Paris to the Middle East. I could try to go to Cairo, but that's not going to be trivial for me. So Paris to the Middle East, this is not a long-range route. I don't know what to do with this extra plane that I have. I don't have a lot of money. Maybe I want to hold off. But I'm worried that yellow might set themselves up for this, so I want to claim this route. Okay, so Paris to the Middle East is going to require a 12. Now I've got some bonuses on here. And I don't want to use my long-range flight for this. Okay, so I rolled an 11. That's a success. From Paris... No, it's not a success. I need a 12. So I'll throw a buck in to get me up to a 12. And that'll get me from Paris to the Middle East. However, I have to reach into this bag. And I can't do that with one hand. To reach into this bag and grab myself an engine failure, which I can repair later on if I get a mechanic. But now, I want to get to Persia, which is where my actual victory point is. And I again have to roll a 12 to do that. It's not a long-range route. And this time I succeed with no problem. So we put the airport into Persia. Now the question is there someplace else that I'd like to put this airport? Because I'm all set up for planes. I could hold on to that airport till next turn. I don't really have a lot of money or whatever, so I think I'm going to hold that airport until my next turn to be able to expand from there, because I've got nowhere I particularly want to do. Now, for here, I didn't note these. When you get to North and South America, you get some victory points for just going there. I think what that is, yeah, you get 3 extra pounds and a victory point if you're the first person in one of these areas. Just for the bonus for that. So that was my turn. I don't want to place that other airport because I don't know what I want to do with it. I probably am not using it this turn because I just don't have a lot of money. So we'll go on to green. Green is here in Berlin. I'm beginning to fill out my slots. There's nothing else I can do directly. So I have 2, 4, 5 more slots. Where would I want to go? I could go to London, or Paris. Those are two places, or Zurich. Those are three places where I could pick up additional passengers. So those are the most interesting to me because I think I'm going to need more passengers because I can't fill this all out. Also, I can only go to two places with my airplanes. I do have some extra money though in case another plane shows up. Okay, I thought he was the guy who picked up the 7th buck. Oh, he has $7. He could buy another plane. Yeah. Let's buy that plane. Yeah, he is the guy that I bought a plane for. That gives me 2 more airports, but a lot more passengers that I have to service. So it's going to make me a bigger player on the world stage, and I've got to get them all serviced before the subsidies run out, or else I'll end up behind in the profits. But simply placing all of these is going to give me a bonus in controlling, having the most access in Europe. So now we go to yellow. Yellow is out of money, and they're running Paris and Amsterdam, and we have Madrid and Copenhagen. We're probably just filling things up here. Paris is the most dangerous, but we can't get anything else out of Paris. We've already taken everything we could service out of Paris because we only go to these places. We don't have any more airports that we could place or anything like that, and we're not likely to be able to get a plane because we have no money. So let's look at what we could maybe get out of Amsterdam. Hopefully I picked these correctly. I could take a Madrid, and there's a Copenhagen. I'm not going to be able to fill my plane completely because that gets me to 4 and 3. I don't go to some of the other places. So I'll take the Madrid because it fills out the most of my plane. I'd rather not lose that. The more passengers I can carry, the better I am. Now we move on to Black, who is sitting in Rome with tons of money. There's a Victory Point plane up here with a long distance. Wow, that's tempting. I filled out all my my passengers already, but I haven't used any airports. So I'm going to buy this for $7, 6 plus the extra range. Get the Supermarine Sea Eagle. It only gets me 1 more airport, but I've got plenty of airport capacity right now. Like I said, Victory Points are hard to come by, so grabbing one seems like a good idea. That's going to put us to re-rolling the die for who goes first. 1, 2, 3. It's going to be yellow, and it'll be at the start of yellow's turn. Okay, so let's look at yellow. We're running Paris, Amsterdam, and that's the only sources that we have. And we're looking for a 3 that we could get to Copenhagen or Madrid. That's not going to get us there. We have 2 we can take to Copenhagen. That fills up almost our entire thing. So we'll pull that out. That means when we come to determining our profit level, we'll be at 4, 5, 6, minus 1 is 5. Unless we can fit something else in. Which may happen, because we may be pulling subsidies for the rest of the turn. Okay, that puts us over to Black, who still has 4 planes, 4 passenger slots, and a whole bunch of airports. Not a lot of money. We're coming out of Rome. Well, Copenhagen and Frankfurt are possibilities. Now, those are both kind of far away. What if we went to, say, Zurich or Paris? Well, there's a Zurich to Paris to Rome run, which we could make. And there's a big Zurich to Paris run, which takes a 3. We only have 4 though, and between them they count up as 5. We could conceivably get into the Middle East, or Persia even, but we're probably not going to make those runs successfully. If we go into the Middle East, And that alone, Blue will haul their Middle Eastern fares as their next move. So you kind of can't catch up with someone, although if a bunch of people gang up on someone at once, they can threaten a number of passengers. And so the player can only, respond with one. But I don't think anybody's clearly in the lead at this point in the game where you're going to see that kind of risk taking place, because frankly, if you lose, if you're the guy who doesn't get to steal a passenger from the opponent that you're picking on, you're the one who gets hurt. Well, they get hurt too, but yeah, it's not like you even have a fair chance if you're going one-on-one. So we don't have the kind of money to haul more people. What else is in Zurich? Amsterdam. Vienna's a 3. We could get to Vienna pretty easily. So if we went to Vienna, then we'd have to get Paris. We have 3 of these, so we could do 1, 2, 3 and connect them all up. That looks plausible. So we're going to place our airports at this point. So we want to get into Vienna first. That allows us to get into Zurich easily, and that allows us to get into Paris easily. And now you can see Paris is filled up, and nobody can put another airport into Paris until they start producing level 2 airports, which come on these bigger planes. And then they can trump one of the level 1 airports there. All right. That puts us over to red. Red looks like they're ready to deliver, although we do have some money. We could buy this little thing, which gets us a couple of airports and a couple more passengers. So what are we looking at? And again, you're going to be constantly making these optimizations all over the place. So from Zurich, I would like to get to a red airport. Now I have to worry because black just pulled into me. And I can't just pick up passengers because I'm not going anywhere. So the Vienna passenger is gone. The Amsterdam passengers are available. So if I'm going to Amsterdam, well, there isn't a lot there, just the Edinburgh. I do have this extra pilot who can get me there. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend $3. And I'm going to buy myself... no, that's 4. I need 5. I'm always misreading the passengers as the cost of the plane. So yeah, I'm probably not going to get another plane unless somebody picks up that Farm and Goliath. Or if I pick up another buck, I could grab one. All right, so that means I have to figure out what I'm doing. So from Zurich, I could haul 3 passengers to Amsterdam, or 2 passengers to Amsterdam, and then from Amsterdam I could haul back to either Rome or Edinburgh. Which means if I want to get to Amsterdam, I would need a long distance flyer. I don't have one. Looks like I'm going to have trouble getting anywhere, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to just place... I bought this damn pilot. I spent 2 actions grabbing this damn pilot. I'll grab another buck. That gets me close to getting more airports because I'm just not getting a good collection of planes and airports. This is the guy who made the mistake, remember? Alright, on to Blue. Blue is still only in Paris, but I've been picking people up. I can pick up another 2 out of Paris. Oh no, I'm down here in the Middle East in Persia. I can pick up 2 guys. I'll pick up these Persians, and I'll be hauling them. And they're worth a victory point, which is cool. Do I have to work? Did I have to grab them? Would it have been better to maybe grab a buck or something? Well, who knows? I certainly don't have enough money to buy planes. Why do I have an extra airport? Oh yeah, I'm holding off until I can make that decision rationally. Yeah, when I walk away, it's sometimes hard to tell. Okay, this guy's got a huge amount of passengers to haul, and he's in Berlin. He doesn't have anything else going to Berlin. He would like to be hauling what? 4, 5, 10 more passengers. London is a rich place, but in terms of that, I can haul 3 to London, but that doesn't really get me much on the way back. I don't have anything that is matching except Athens. Might be my best move. Okay. So how would I get to London? Well, I don't have a long distance plane, so I have to get there the long way, which would be, say, through Frankfurt, Amsterdam, London. That uses 3. I'm not going to get down to Athens that way. All right, what else could I do? I could look for more planes. Jeez. Yeah, I really could use a long distance plane to hop over a space, but I don't have that. Is there anything in Copenhagen? There isn't. There's a Stockholm, but you know. What about other possibilities? What about if we went into Zurich? Could we get anything out of Zurich? There's a couple of Amsterdams in Zurich, and that's kind of in our way. 3. There's a Paris, we can't go there, that's filled. There's a Vienna, we could probably get that as well. Except Black is going to beat us to that, quite clearly. That's what they're using that plane for, I think. We can't be sure because Black might be going to Paris. They have a lot of folk there. The thing is, they picked up a couple of passengers from Rome just to make Rome maybe less attractive. Oh. So, I think our best shot is that Zurich. We can't get Paris. We can get Vienna. These are in the Paris slot. Vienna and conceivably Amsterdam. So let's say we lay down a Frankfurt, a Vienna, a Zurich. We can do all these without any die rolls because they're all just white lines. We have one more. All right, well, where do we go? We got a big trip to Athens. If we're going to Vienna, let's get down to Athens too. And we'll see how much of this we can pick up. Because I'm looking at 3, 6, although it's hard to fit. Like 3 fit in here, 3 fit in there. Putting the 2 in there may not have been wise, but I didn't know what my numbers were going to come up. And now we come over back to yellow and they get to roll. 1, 2, 3, over to the blue player as the first player in the next set. Blues filled out their slot. They don't have much they can do. Maybe if they had more money, they could pick things up. They could, of course, try to get more actions over there, and that might be helpful. But at this point, I think just grabbing the money is helpful. It is the best thing they can do because it's shortening the turn. As you can see, a lot of people are going to have to pass, or else blue is going to be passing over a lot of turns. And of course, once they collect up enough money, they get an airplane, they don't have enough actions left probably before a lot of people pass in order to fill those out. So there's probably nothing they want to do with this money. They can just they can always just grab more subsidies or take maybe a roll on here and see if they get some cool stuff. They could use a repair thing because they have the engine down. Let's take a look at green. Green's got a lot to fill though still. Green's looking at Zurich, Berlin, and that's it. So let's see what they can hit from those. Okay, first of all, I've got 1 for Zurich here. I can go there. I have Frankfurt, Vienna, and Athens, though. We have a Vienna. We have a big Athens. It looks to me like Zurich is our biggest place. So let's grab these three, put it on this plane. There's still a couple of ones available, I think, that we might take. There's the Zurich one here. Or maybe we don't fill that plane up, but we'll get as much as we can. Puts it to yellow. Yellow is almost full. Can we find a one coming from either Paris or Amsterdam that we need? Edinburgh, we're not getting there. Paris, there's nothing there. So we're in the position of we have nothing we can do. We can't fill that out. So we'll just grab a subsidy, which is essentially the pass action in this game. Black still has 4 to fill out. That sounds worth looking for. So Rome, Zurich, and Paris. Wow, I have a lot. I go to Paris. That's appealing. So it looks like I have a lot of options there. I could go to Rome with 2, but I think my best is to take the 3 for Paris. Put that here. I'll be able to get the other one easily. Come up to red. Red has to fill their passengers still. They're just coming out of Zurich. And Zurich's getting kind of depleted at this point. Amsterdam's all that's available. If I get to Amsterdam, I can't get anywhere. I got $5 though. I could buy another plane. All right, we're gonna just shoot our way into Amsterdam because at least we'll get some of our placements in place. Remember, this is the guy who screwed up. Stupid him. The white die only moves 1. Over to here to green. Let's do him really quickly. Zurich and Berlin are the only places I can hit. And I've got a lot of places to go to. Athens, Zurich. Nobody else goes to Athens. Other people go to Zurich and Amsterdam, which I'm not getting to. All right, well, given that other people go to Zurich, I'm going to grab the Zurich one because I don't think anybody's getting into Athens, and I'll be able to deliver that easily enough. Puts it here on yellow. We're probably in the same position we were in, grabbing funds. We're Paris and Amsterdam. Nothing new is going to show up, so unless I screwed up before, we'll just grab a subsidy. Black here, all filled up except for 1. And I'm in Rome, Zurich, and Paris. No. Oh, yellow's got a Copenhagen. But I can't get that. Got a 2 in Rome. I think I was hoping to get that 1 for Zurich, but there's a Paris I can grab. And I'll take that one and fill this up. That puts us over here to red. Lots of money I just delivered. We're going to try to fill our slots, which is from Zurich and Amsterdam. And the only other place we hit is Frankfurt. So we'll fill an Amsterdam up. We go to blue. Blue is all full. And just grabbing bucks. While it would be helpful to get that repair kit, it's also very helpful for me to try to close things out at this point. Now we're over here. We roll 1, 2, 3. The dice will be over on the red guy here. We're probably not going to see everybody even get a turn this time around because there's only 1 coin and 1 end of phase thing. So what's up with them? Well, they want to make one. They have the Zurich, Amsterdam, Frankfurt. There was an Amsterdam here in Zurich, so I can take that. Blue. No, 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 no. Let's end this. That's a lot of excess capacity over here on green. What can green do? They could end it. They're at Zurich and Berlin. I got the 3 from Athens. Zurich is empty. That's all I got. So I'll grab the 3 from Athens. That drops me down to just 2 missing, which is, I think, as good as I could do. Oh, yeah, because I can't pick that up. And I don't get Paris, yeah. Okay. Nobody went to London. How about that? All right, yellow. Yellow has some interesting options here. So there's no real reason you want to be the guy who draws this. So if you have something you can do, you want to do it. And yellow is hitting Amsterdam, Paris, and Copenhagen. And that's it. Well, there's nowhere I can get to with that. I'm not sure why I went to Copenhagen. And Madrid. I guess I was hoping to have Rome for some reason, but I'm not going to have my whole planes filled out. But what I can do is I could spend $1 and roll some dice and see what I get, because I can get an advantage from that. You don't get a bonus. You don't even get a guarantee of being first player or anything. You get to be first player for the next round, but then you roll a die immediately during the process, the between turn process, which is kind of funny. The 6 isn't going to get me anything. The 2 does get me a pilot. I could have gotten lucky and maybe picked up a couple of them from that. That puts it over to black. Hey, I'm in the same position. I could either end the turn here. No, there's a reason to end the turn on red, though, because he's sitting on Amsterdam and Zurich. And could he use either of these? Well, Zurich has nothing. Amsterdam, Rome, and Edinburgh, he doesn't get to either of those, so we'll pay $1 and roll some dice. And we get a 2 and a 3, which gets us 1 of each of these for our $1. Definitely a worthwhile $1 spent. Now over here, he can see blue's not going to be able to do anything. I got $5. I could buy a plane, but that would be horrible. But we're not going to be able to make a delivery, but we can roll some dice. For the same reason again, it doesn't hurt to do so if the next guy isn't going to score any points from it. So he got a pair of deuces. He gets 2 more pilots. You can collect these up to the counter mix. And now we're on blue, and blue's looking well. How is green going to do? Zurich, Berlin. Zurich's empty. Berlin goes to London. This guy's not going to London with anything. Yeah, we too will spend $1. We don't want to buy a plane, because that would give us excess capacity that we'd lose money on. But buying these things seems worthwhile. I'm going to spend $1 and just guarantee myself this one, because it's unlikely that 2 will do me any good. Now we go to green. Green has very little they can do. They have no money, so they're going to grab this to prevent people from grabbing those up. Now we go to the end of turn phase, which we figure out what everybody's at. Now we have to get kind of a calculation here. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minus 2 is 7 for him. Over here. 4, 5, 6 minus 1 is 5 for him. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8 is 8 for him. Well, I'm out of dice here. Grab another one. We're working on it. Over here, 1, 2, 3 minus 1 is just 2. He's not going to be in the top 3 for profit, so we'll leave him alone. And 1, 2, 4, that also is not going to be in the top 3 for profit. So our profits, our top guy is black, who ends up getting 5 victory points for that. Our second place is green up there, who will get 3. And then third place is yellow, who gets 1. And it's not necessarily, you know, these guys filled out their complements and didn't make a lot of profit, but still didn't make a lot of profit. It's better to have some big, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7. He was actually at 6. He'll still be in second place for this because this guy's at 5. Okay, so now the next thing we do is we look at the profits elsewhere in the world. Well, the easiest to do is the Asian, and the blue player got into Asia in first place. He gets $2. He doesn't get the extra, or 2 victory points. He doesn't get the extra victory point for the person who, you know, for the second place finish. Okay, and that puts us now to figuring out how many markets in Europe each person has. And let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get some dice here. 4 for yellow. Let's look at green. 1. You're only allowed 1 per city. So 2, 3, 4, 5 for green. Blue has only 1. How do you do that? Okay, well, red has 3. And now black has 1, 2, 3 as well. Okay, so our top place in Europe goes over to green, who's going to get 3 victory points. 1, 2, 3. And then second place in Europe goes to yellow, who gets 2 victory points. And you can see this is where the scores are. Now, on top of that, we got to look at these planes. This guy's got 1 capacity on this plane. So I'll put a little marker there. These, I think these go back in the bag if they're not victory point markers. See the cleanup. So this is important. No, the 0 victory point markers go out of the game. Okay. I was going to say it might be important because the victory point markers don't go back in, so they're only a 1 shot. Yeah, okay. This plane I filled up completely. I can just put this somewhere. This will be out of the game. This one has 2 more in it. You know, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them both on here. And this is my current air capacity. If I had any, and I don't really need, I can just put them all in a single pile. I don't need to worry about what's there. If I had any additional airports, and we'll see that over here, this guy, he gets rid of both of his. Now he gets to keep his victory point marker hidden over here. These planes were both turned over. This one, though, has an additional airport on it. And that airport's a long-distance airport. That's why the long distance is on the back of the cards. That was necessary to put there. This guy, not completely filled out. So he has 1 extra air capacity on his plane. And this is a passenger slot, with no airports or anything, but a passenger slot that he has to fulfill next turn to meet his profit requirements. And over here, he filled everything and used up all his planes, which is usually a good thing, but he didn't get first place by doing so. Green beat him out here. And did he get any victory point cards by doing so? Well, yes, he got 2 of them, so that was a pretty good turn for him. He's in pretty good, strong position. Over here, the yellow player looks like he has 1 extra seat on an airplane that he can allocate, or kind of must allocate next turn. These all go away. And anything else? We have some money to hand out. So we have a few tasks to do at this point. Tiles are moved from the passenger waiting area to passenger overflow. That's the Middle East guy. Cairo. We only take one from each city, and that fills those out. I don't know if these slide down. I think it doesn't matter because they're all European, so just for ease, I'm going to do that. Now, we're going to fill from the bag the remaining slots. And so we start putting people out, and we're going to come back after that. Now, everybody's gotten 22 more bucks, which means there's a lot more money out. Of course, the planes have gotten more expensive overall in general. 8 more bucks are in here. Let's see, I forgot to discard the 2 lowest airplane cards. These are just, I'll put them in the out of play pile over here. And now we have to replenish those. And you can see we almost made it into Era 2 in terms of the planes. I think that depends on, it depends a lot on the number of players. If you try playing this with only 2, it's very, very hard because you don't have a lot of cash to get most of the planes out for the Era. I'm a little surprised that it didn't happen in Era 1 either. This means, you know, you have the choice between a big plane that can get you a lot of passengers towards the profitability versus a level 1 airport instead of level 2. Now, chances are there are plenty of level 2 airports coming out, so if you need to replace an airport, you'll be able to do it because you're probably going to buy at least 2 planes in any given era. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is we move this. We're going to move this, and we've done the income, which is this. So it's supposed to happen here, not the end of era upkeep, but whatever. And now for the action round, this guy had the token, so he rolls the first player die, and we count from him. And yellow is going to be going first in the new era with a whole flood of money and, you know, new goals. Some of those new goals are pretty impressive. So we see we got North and South America here. Now, note what the passenger overflow did. First of all, these guys with the little X on them, they can't show up in round 1. So some of the high victory point cards that are hard to, or counters that are hard to service, they're just not going to come out in the first era. The other thing is, by draining some of these away, even if an area, you know, was kind of blocked up by some of those, at least the city will get some new people. So, for example, London wasn't interesting, not because it had a ton of these, but just because it didn't link up very well. Well, now it's got rid of one of its counters, the Cairo counter, I think, in order to get into here. These guys are kind of neat too, because rather than being difficult to reach because they're in a specific city that maybe you can't get to, well, now they're available from anywhere. So all you have to do is have an airport to deliver them to. You don't have to worry about where they want to come from. You know, it's just like, hey, leave them long enough, they'll go wandering around and they'll show up somewhere and ask to be taken on an airplane to where they want to go, I guess. You know, if all I had left was these, yeah, I'll pick you up in the Middle East and take you to Persia. Now, you're always going to have a home city, so you can kind of assume that they're drifting around in your home city. They're willing to take a bus, you know, to Paris in order to get that flight if they want it. Okay. And you can see another factor that came up, which is, look, I got these regional controls, and Blue ended up only getting their 2 victory points for Asia, whereas had they been able to say, I don't know, be in this kind of position, taking a double flight or something, they could have also gotten the Africa victory points off that. But without a long distance flyer, I kind of had to do it this way to get the victory point counter for Persia as well. So I did get an extra victory point off of going into Asia this far. Plus, there's a lot of really big points deep in Asia. So like this Australia. This is worth 5 victory points to take one dude to Australia. Now, Australia is quite far away, and clearly being able to take a bunch of people into North or South America is worth more if you're the first person going into those. But, you know, I've got some progression going in this direction. Of course, these guys take a long distance flight. Australia takes this. I believe that, no, that doesn't require a long distance flight, but it requires 2 die rolls to get to Australia. So it's not trivial. All right, let's load this one up and we'll start the second era.